Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Southampton preview. This is it. This is the big one. It really is. Manchester United travelling down to Southampton. And the pressure's on. It really is. We've just had the press conference, so we're going to do things a little bit differently today. It's not myself and Joseph. It's just me and you lot. So we're going to be chatting about the quotes from the Erik Ten Hag press conference. Also do the usual predicted 11. Talk a little bit about Southampton and get into all the sort of latest comings and goings and what is going on in terms of the preparation for this game. So make sure before we get into that you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Loads of people in the comments already. Please hit that like button. People, we need you to like the video. And also if you're not doing already, then subscribe to the video as well. Right, in terms of the press conference, we've got some of the quotes. Obviously some of the quotes from the press conference will be embargoed, so you'll get them later on tonight. And I think you might even get some of them tomorrow evening as well, but because it's an early kickoff, I'm not sure actually. I think it'll be later on tonight for some of the embargoed. Now we know that Erik Ten Hag is under pressure. There's no point in pretending he isn't. It's not just the fact that United have lost 2 out of the first 3 games. That in itself this season isn't the end of the world. I think it's following on from last season, finishing 8th. Obviously, there was a question mark as to whether Ineos really backed him. I know they did in the end, but they were interviewing other candidates as well. So that sort of shows you there was a few doubts at least about Erik Ten Hag. And then losing away at Brighton is one thing. Losing at home to Liverpool 3-0, the manner of that defeat did add on more pressure for Erik Ten Hag. So you can understand why a few people, myself included, going, look, listen, I love Erik Ten Hag. I think he's the right man for the job. But a bad result against Southampton could, it won't be too melodramatic, could actually prove fatal for him. He might not recover from that, to be honest with you, but we don't want to be too negative, so we'll get into all that. Erik Ten Hag has been speaking ahead of the game, and in terms of who's available, he mentioned Rasmus Højlund and Luke Shaw. He says Højlund and Luke Shaw, they are progressing very well, but are not ready for the game. Manuel Ugarte, can't wait to see Manuel Ugarte. I think we have all seen, he played for Uruguay, he returned this afternoon, he was the only player who returned today. All the other players returned yesterday, so he is available for this game. Now, will he start against Southampton? Possibly. Obviously, returning on a Thursday for an early kickoff on the Saturday isn't ideal for your Premier League debut, but stranger things have happened. Plus, he's kind of essential. It seems mad to say that about a new signing, but I feel like he almost is. I feel like with what's happened with Casemiro and the fact we are lacking another out-and-out DM, then, you know, in the past you might have gone with, okay, let's try Scott McTominay in a deeper role. Obviously, we haven't got him. So if you're about we didn't renew his deal or extend his deal, whatever you want to say, I'll go back in for him. So you're sort of heavily relying on Casemiro. Toby Collier obviously struggled a little bit against Liverpool. Don't want to be too harsh on the kid. Can you ask him to play in that role against Southampton? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see, though. I feel like playing Manuel Ugarte might be the answer, although some people would argue Casemiro deserves a chance. I mean, he's still Casemiro, isn't he? Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat in the comments. We're going to get into predicted 11s in a minute, but no Højlund and no Luke Shaw this weekend, but Manuel Ugarte is available. Not a great surprise for me. Just give me your thoughts as well on the Luke Shaw situation, because we were told he'd be available for after the international break. Obviously, it's only just after the international break, but it is frustrating. This is a player who, when he's fit, he starts for Manchester United. There's no doubt in my mind about that. He played a huge part in the success of Erik Ten Hag's first season. He does have a bad injury record, though. Last season, he I don't know what's going on over there, a bit of banging. He did have an injury-ravaged campaign. He came back for the Euros for England towards the end of the Euros, but yet again, he's not available for Manchester United. And it's just really, really frustrating. Corin Howard says, your views on Shaw not fit since February. I've said my views. It's disappointing. And it is, I don't know. I mean, we've brought in Mazraoui, who can play on the right, obviously, and you move Delo onto the left, so that's doable. But it's not ideal, is it? Plus, when you've got Tyrone Malacia still not available, yeah, it's just a little bit of a bit of a nightmare, to be honest with you. Gaz Rowell says, on your own, Jay, no sidekick today. No sidekick today, but he will be back next week. Don't worry, we'll get him back for the Barnsley preview because he never misses them. Let's talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. Ten Hag spoke about Cristiano Ronaldo. He says, because obviously Ronaldo had talked about how a United coach shouldn't be saying United won't win the league or whatever. You should be saying we're going to win the league. That's the sort of expectation. I'm paraphrasing. Well, that's what he said. And it sort of was viewed by some people as a bit of a dig at Erik Ten Hag. However, Erik Ten Hag says on Cristiano Ronaldo's comments, He said that Man United can't win the Premier League. He said this, if you read the article very well, Ronaldo is far away in Saudi, far away from Manchester. Everyone can have an opinion. It's okay. So he's not really bothered about what Ronaldo said, or at least publicly he's saying he's not bothered. It does feel like there's no love lost between Cristiano Ronaldo and Erik ten Hag. Obviously didn't see eye to eye when Ronaldo was a player at Manchester United. There was the incident against Spurs where he stormed out of the ground. He just went down the tunnel, didn't even stay to the final whistle once he realised, I think, that he was going to be an unused substitute. So you can see that the two basically don't like each other. Listen, Ronaldo for me is a club legend because winning a Ballon d'Or, the Champions League, 42 goals in that season, 3 Premier League titles on the spin. However, his return wasn't great. I know he had a good first season, but the club was in an utter turmoil. Not his fault, he scored a lot of goals. That second season, though, I don't think he covered himself in glory. He obviously wanted to leave. For me, it was obvious from the start. Giving that interview at Piers Morgan, the way he acted wasn't great. So I just feel like a bit of a shame, to be honest with you, the way it all panned out. Obviously, he's been asked about Erik ten Hag, he's been asked about Manchester United, a chat with Rio Ferdinand. He's spoken about it. The manager's responded. I kind of feel like we can all move on. Erik ten Hag's got enough pressure on him without getting too bogged down in the comments from Cristiano Ronaldo. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give me your opinions. Let's talk about Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford, who... Talk about Erik ten Hag being under pressure. I feel like there's pressure on Marcus Rashford as well because he hasn't really got going, has he, this season? And following on again, last season wasn't great. So there is a sort of added scrutiny as well. The season before, fantastic 30 goals. The following season, not good enough. This season, he's had some moments. Probably should have had some assists, especially against Liverpool. You look at those 2 crosses for Joshua Zirkzee. They should have been converted, but he hasn't. He hasn't had any goals or assists this season. So he's someone who really needs to step up. He's one of the senior players. What is he, 27 now? So while we can look at maybe Garnacho and Diallo and Zirkzee and Højlund and all these other youngsters, I know Højlund's not available, Marcus Rashford is a senior player. He's a player who has scored a lot of goals for Manchester United, and we need him to step up sooner rather than later. Now, to be fair to Rashford, he has been putting in extra training. He has teamed up with Ryan Hopper, a bit of RH elite coaching, to try and get the extra bit of coaching that can hopefully help him get back amongst the goals. So it seems like he's doing his bit, but we need to see it in a football match. That's when we need to see it. And Southampton, there's your ideal opportunity. You're playing a team that are 19th in the Premier League. People are going to be looking at you with a bit more scrutiny now. And a lot of people already in the comments in the chat can say, are saying that they'd rather see Garnacho start over Marcus Rashford, which just shows where Marcus Rashford is really, doesn't it? You got Garnacho, who's 20 years old. He scored some goals for Manchester United. He's not scored nearly as many as Marcus Rashford, but a lot of people would rather see Garnacho start than Marcus Rashford, and I can understand why. Even if I don't agree with it, I get it. I understand why. So get involved in the chat in the comments and let us know what you think. I'll go through some comments. Jimmy says, Jay, right man for the job, Motty. Ethan Sweeney, I think that's a reference to Ten Hag, says no manager should let them things happen, so Erik ten Hag did right. Ronnie is still a club legend. You can think both things are true, can't you? Think you didn't really like what Ronaldo did, and you think Erik ten Hag handled it right, and you can still like Cristiano Ronaldo for what he's achieved at the club. I don't think it has to be you either like one or the other. You can like them both. I just think it wasn't the right time for Cristiano Ronaldo and Erik ten Hag at Manchester United at the same time. Ronaldo wasn't really the Premier League player we needed, and he couldn't play in a system that Erik ten Hag wanted to play in. And obviously he was unhappy about that, so he moved on. And that first season as well, don't forget, under Erik ten Hag was very successful. We finished 3rd, we won a trophy, and we got to a final as well. So it wasn't like it was a bad season. It just wasn't the right season for Manchester United with Cristiano Ronaldo involved. Mossam Faisal says Jay can perform better than Rashi. I can. Hashtag pray for Jay, says Balcazar. Thank you for that. Balcazar also says we need Lord Anthony in the starting 11. Do you know about that one? Should we talk about my starting 11? Should we get into that? There you can see my starting 11. Obviously, we know we've got no Luke Shaw, we've got no Rasmus Højlund. Manuel Ugarte is available, though. It only landed in England today. I still, however, have picked him. Here's my team. You can see I've got Andre Onana in goal. I've got Diogo Dalot at left back. I've got Lisandro Martinez on the left-hand side of the back 4. You've got Matthijs de Ligt, who was getting a bit of stick for how he performed for the Netherlands on the right-hand side. And you've also got Nazer Mazraoui on the right back position there. In midfield, I have started Manuel Ugarte. This is my predicted, by the way. I shouldn't say I have. This is who I think Erik ten Hag will start. I think he will start Manuel Ugarte. I think Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes will also be part of that midfield. And I think the front 3 will be Marcus Rashford, Joshua Zirkzee and Amad Diallo. That is my predicted team. You may disagree. Fine. Let me know who you think Erik ten Hag will pick for the trip to St Mary's. That is fine. If you don't agree with that, let me know who you think it will be. Just remember though, guys, it isn't a preferred 11. I get this all the time when we do these predicted 11s and people say, why do you hate this player? Why don't you want to see this player starting? Why have you picked that player? I haven't. It's not like I don't like these players. This is who I think the manager's going to go with. You may disagree, so let me know. Stephen Morey says, I don't think Ugarte starts. I'm 50-50, mate. I'll be honest with you. The fact he just landed today makes me think, is he going to throw him in? But there's a little part of me that feels like, this is a must-win game. I know we use that term all the time, but I feel like it is. Ugarte is a very good player. I think he's still capable of playing, even if he's been on a plane for until recently. I think he'll start. Ethan Sweeney says, I agree. I think ten Hag will go with that side. David Griffiths says, I think, Jay, you've picked the best 11 we have available at the moment. I'm not sure Ugarte is going to start. It's likely to come on at the end. That's one of the most reasonable comments we've ever had. I get it. Ross Murphy says, I think it will be Casemiro. I think a few people have argued that. Let's have a look what else people saying. Adam Kenny says same, but with Casemiro. Mad Hatter 007 says Eriksen will start over Ugarte. Lol. So I think I don't know if he's joking there. Stephen Morey says, I agree with you, Ugarte should start. James Kenworthy says, is it possible Rashford is not as good as you think? Do you think he reached his peak a couple of seasons ago? Is he on the decline? We will find out. We will see. He's certainly been doing the training he should have been doing. I think you'll get a good sort of, testament to how successful that was against Southampton. That is a team that are 19th. If he struggles against Southampton, there's going to be more question marks asked around Marcus Rashford, and that's the last thing we need. Mozam Faisal said, is Mount back? I don't think Mason Mount is available. So Jim says Casemiro will start, then Ugarte will replace Mainu. That could make sense. That could happen. AB says, I can see a Rashford brace versus Southampton. Adam Kenny says, no, not possible. Rash is crazy. Good. James Dawson says, Rashford will always start. He's ten Hag's favourite. Let's be honest, without Rashford's freak season, ten Hag would already be toast. So he says it's a freak season and ten Hag would be toast. Marcus Rashford's had other seasons where he scored 20 plus, but he's only that one season where he scored 30 goals. We'll wait and see whether it is a freak season and whether that did save Erik ten Hag's job, because I get that argument, but also I think that it's difficult to say, well, if Rashford wasn't there, ten Hag will be out of a job, because if Rashford were there, someone else would be playing, and the style of play might be slightly different. You might see those goals spread around the team a little bit more. Who knows? Let's talk a little bit about Southampton. Southampton are currently 19th in the table. They've had a difficult start to their Premier League campaign. No wins. I think they scored 1, they conceded 5. They lost 3-1 away to Brentford, I think it was, in the last game. The one thing I will say about Southampton is they do keep the ball. In the last game against Brentford, they lost 3-1 and they had 64% possession. So you've got to give them credit if they can keep the ball. And I was chatting to a Southampton fan, my brother-in-law's a Southampton fan, I was chatting to him last week, and he says, look, we've tried to play the same way in the Premier League as we did in the Championship, and he doesn't know if that's going to work, and obviously it hasn't worked so far. There's already pressure on Russell Martin. It doesn't matter the fact he got promoted. A lot of Southampton fans have sort of turned against him and don't think he's the right man for the job. I think it was 2 back-to-back 1-0 losses was how they first started the campaign, and one of those was away to 10-man Newcastle too. So they have had a bit of a difficult one, and the pressure's on Russell Martin almost as much, if not more so, well, probably not as much actually, as it is on Erik ten Hag. 2 managers who are under pressure. My sort of worry with this game is people will expect us to go to Southampton, dominate possession, take the game to them. And I understand that, because it's a team that's just been promoted against a team of, experienced Premier League players. Many of them cost a lot of money. Many of them cost a lot more than Southampton have ever spent on any players. However, if, and it's a big if we go to St Mary's and Southampton keep the ball, they have a lot of possession, that could be frustrating for Manchester United. And if we lose that game and the fans see, not only have we lost at Southampton, but we've lost to a team that dominated possession, I think Erik ten Hag is going to lose the remaining fans he had, I thought, or a lot of them anyway. Ibby says, Jay, if we lose against Southampton, what then? I will add a little caveat though. I don't think we will lose against Southampton. So even though I'm saying all these negative things, like if we lose this and they have possession and the fans are going to turn against him, yeah, that would be horrible and he'll struggle, but I don't think we will lose against Southampton. I think we'll win. Hit that like button, let us know what you think. Do you think Manchester United will win against Southampton? Do you think we will struggle? Go on then, let's have some score predictions. I'm going to give you my score prediction. For my score prediction, I'm going to say Manchester United 3, Southampton 2. We had a few 3-2s, haven't we, against Southampton? I think I'm pretty sure, right? let me get into it. That United have won 3-2 against Southampton a few times. There was, let me have a look at this now. I'm just sorry, it's going. I seem to remember like going back to there was a time when Edinson Cavani scored that brace. Do you remember? That was 3-2 away at Southampton. We've had them at home as well. I'm sure we've had a few ones at home. There was the Carabao Cup final. Do you remember that one? That was 3-2. You remember the Zlatan one where Lingard and Zlatan scored? Zlatan scored a late winner. That was 3-2. I feel like 3-2 has been a result that has happened a few times at Manchester United. I've got a few figures I can barely see that, but I think there's a few games there where we've won 3-2. There's one with Van Persie. I'm sure there was a Van Persie one as well where Robin Van Persie got the winner and we beat him 3-2. So I'm going to go with 3-2. Let me know what you think. What do you think the score's going to be? Yeah, there's another one for you. Manchester United 3. We beat him at home as well under Ole, where it was 3-2 as well, where I think Romelu Lukaku scored. So yeah, it's a common scoreline. I'd settle for it now. We just need a win, don't we? Let's have it right. We just need to get a win. We can't lose this one. RVP hat-trick, says Ethan Sweeney. Thank you. Matt J says 9-0. Yeah. Jermaine Rutter says 9-0 as well. James Kenworthy says we really need some of these Erik Ten Hag signings to come good. I agree. We do. James Kenworthy also says 1-0. Listen, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you to everyone who got involved in the comments and the chat. Let us know your score predictions. Don't forget, if you've not done already, to hit that like button and to subscribe to the channel. We're going to be back for the watch along on the day as well. We're going to go live at 11:30. Myself, Adam McCullough and Joe Smith are going to be here for the watch along, so make sure you join us for that. I'm going to be back with the news in the morning. Also, before that, we're going to have Off the Bar. Me, McCullough, Howson on Off the Bar. We're going to be talking a little bit about Cristiano Ronaldo, his comments. Going to talk about Manuel Ugarte. How does he fit into this team? Also going to be talking about Manchester City and their 115 charges. So make sure you're subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on any of that. I'm Jay Motty. This has been a Southampton preview. Thanks for watching.